Isn't this great? So sweet. Today's your birthday. Now, I know today is Richard Pryor's birthday. I don't think he's in studio today.
It may also be Woody Allen.
Woody Allen's birthday. And Bette Midler's birthday.
Well, listen, I mean, that's a pretty esteemed crew. Pryor was one of the best comedians ever. Yep. Bette is pretty wild.
A junkie and a pedophile?
Listen, don't make them bad people.
Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver of Washington Redskins, his birthday today.
Accomplished athlete. There you go.
There you go. And yours, the great Arthur Aidala, everybody.
Yeah. Live from Madison Square Garden. So I just had a little boy, a brand new little boy.
Congratulations.
He was born October 24th.
And you named him Sidney. That was very, very nice.
Well, I am going to speak about his name because, people think, I named him Arthur, and people think I'm an egomaniac, which I am, but that's not why I named him Arthur. In this very building, on March 8th, 1971, my grandfather, Judge Artie Aidala, judged the fight 9 rounds Frazier, 6 rounds Ali.
That's right.
In the most famous sporting event possibly in the history of the modern world.
That was the second fight, right?
It was the first one. The first one. Ali had been stripped of his title.
Oh, okay, all right.
The whole United States Supreme Court thing, and Frazier was the champ, and it was Ali's first time back, and he got knocked out in the 15th round. And my son now, and my 2 sons, they get to hear the video of Johnny Addy announcing Judge Artie Aidala has it 9 rounds, Frazier 6 rounds, Ali, and that was the deciding vote. And you just hear them screaming, Frazier's won the fight, Frazier's won the fight, and that took place in this very building.
See, I thought when you started the whole thing, you were going to say, right here in this very building is where we conceived our latest son.
No, that was actually in Rocking Horse Ranch in upstate New York, but we can talk about that another time.
At least it was indoors.
It was indoors. So, listen, you guys have hyped up this big announcement, and I really appreciate you guys doing so. It's because it makes me feel very good, and I do feel amongst family when I'm here.
You, by the way, Arthur Aidala is not only a noted, famed attorney, a Fox News analyst, a good friend of former Supreme Court Justice
Antonin Scalia. I'm wearing his pin today on my lapel.
Almost like he was your mentor.
Yeah, he was like an uncle, to be honest with you. That's how it was like. So I got to tell you.
So you're not just some legal aid lawyer schlub for the uninitiated out there.
Well, there's a lot of great lawyers.
And he's humble, too.
Let me be political. So, I was told I'm making a big announcement. So I am going to make a big announcement. I am getting my own reality TV show. It's going to be called From Arthur to Martha. I'm getting the treatments. I'm getting the injections. The hair plugs are coming in. My boobs are getting bigger. Wow. And I figured, hey, if I needed to announce something big, I might as well say, there was Arthur. Now there's going to be B. Arthur.
I just wish you a smoother transition as what Trump is having right now.
Well,
that's what I.
See, you threw me a curveball because I thought when I read the New York Times a couple days ago, and I read Ken Thompson's successor, a pure district attorney working under the radar, and I saw only 3 names in that column: Swern, James, and Arthur Aidala. That maybe you were coming to tell us that, hey, maybe you wanted the Brooklyn DA job.
That part.
If it's about a reality TV show, that's great.
Is that the part we're talking about? Well, yeah, okay, so we can touch upon that a little quickly. Yes, I actually am here live in person to announce that I formed an exploratory committee, and it's a wide open committee. It's called Aidala for New York, and it's not Aidala for DA, it's not Aidala for Brooklyn, it's Aidala for New York. And I'll tell you why briefly, because when I was in poly prep with Sid, I took it was a junior year and senior year, and during the summer, I worked in the New York City Council. I worked for the local city councilman, Sal Albanese. And I got to tell you, Bernie, those particular summers, I will say I got bit by the public service bug. Right. I remember I was 15 and 16 years old. It was the Friday of July 4th weekend. A huge pothole opened up on one of the streets in Bay Ridge, but it was huge. And through the offices of the councilman, I was able to get a repair crew there, and this little old lady was the one who called it in, and she was so stressed out of her mind about it. And the joy and satisfaction and gratification I got from that little episode has stayed with me now. I was 15 then. Wow. I'm 48 in a day.
You made a difference.
It made a difference. And then my time in the district attorney's office working under District Attorney Joe Hines, We made it. We used to say we would trip over ourselves in the morning to get to work because you really felt like you were doing something.
Yeah.
And this is 19. This is pre. I actually came in with Rudy, so crime was crime. You know, there was, there wasn't 300 murders. It was almost 3,000.
Remember?
So yeah,
vividly,
you guys know what I'm saying. You remember what Brooklyn was like? Sheepshead Bay. I mean, there was
disaster.
Correct. So, and again, that made me feel so
York.
good. And I will tell you, even now, being in private practice, and yes, obviously the financial benefits are palpable.
They're good.
But that's not what drives me. You know, when the two cases that I think of, one was Billy Rapetti. He was the crane rigger who, when the crane fell on the east side and it killed 8 people, it closed down the whole, they basically made him a scapegoat. And I tried that case. 10 weeks I tried that case. And when the verdict came in, when Judge Roger Hayes read the verdict and said the words not guilty 40 times. 40 times. Yeah. And behind me, the courtroom is packed. They moved us to the ceremonial courtroom. And Sid, there are these like iron workers, these crane workers, like their fingers are the size of my calves. They're eating sausage and pepper heroes for breakfast. Yeah. They're all hysterically crying. The defendant's wife, Audrey, is in my father's laps, like convulsing. And I took in that whole scene, and I said to the court officer, the judge left the bench, and I said, can I go out that way? Because the media's all snapping pictures. And guys, I'll tell you the truth. I went in the back, and there was a door there. I opened the door. It was a broom closet. And I absolutely collapsed. I fell on my hands and knees. I was sobbing uncontrollably because this was a factually innocent man who was being scapegoated. There was 1 billion civil lawsuits against the city. Had he gotten convicted, all of those lawsuits would have been wiped out.
Right.
And the judge had the chutzpah to do the right thing. And I didn't make a fortune on that case. And then Bridget Harris is a young woman who kills her father. One of the issues where she winds up chopping off his penis and gagging him and he chokes to death. I did that case for free, Bernard. I did it for free. I mean, I probably spent $20,000. And when the jury came back and they cleared her, I mean, the feeling in your soul of doing the right thing is just overwhelming. And I can't lie. Mr. Trump has definitely, President-elect Trump had something to do with it.
Listen to this. That's the kind of public servant we want, is what you just described right there. Somebody with that kind of passion. That's who we want in office.
But the thing is, you couldn't really do that. Like, you didn't feel like you would do that because you had to be a lifelong politician. Look at, Mayor de Blasio. He's been in politics for 40 years. And all of these people who have kind of, Hillary Clinton's been around for 50 years in politics. Right. I haven't been around in politics. I've been around it, but I haven't been in, I'm not a community organizer. I'm just a guy from Brooklyn who loves my community. I have an office in Manhattan. I live in Manhattan. My dad's from the Bronx. I went to law school in Queens. My in-laws live in Staten Island. I'm a total 5-borough guy. And if there's an ability an opportunity for me to serve, I'd lose a ton of money. I have no problem telling you.
Right.
One of the offices I'm looking at that I would love to achieve would be New York State Attorney General.
Right.
Speaking candidly, I went on the website and I'm doing all this.
You're going to take a bath.
You make $150,000 a year. I mean, between my 2 sons, that's going to be like their tuition. But I'll figure it out. If the people want me to help, make this place a better place to live in, then I'd be honored and flattered, and I'll figure it out.
Well, you're going to kick off this whole. Well, you really kicked it off just now by making the announcement right here with us, which we both appreciate because we love you, the Bernie and Sid show.
I'm with family.
Yes,
especially
you are.
King Flipper.
Yes, but you're putting together a huge bash in a couple of weeks where you're going to get all these people together. Tell me the specifics behind the big bash.
Here's the thing, and you guys know this, right? A lot of people say they're going to run for something, and they have like $5 in the bank, right? Who wants to be the governor, but they can only raise $15,000? Who wants to be the mayor, and they can raise $10,000? Before I know what I'm running for, I want to know how much money I could put in the bank, because it's all about that. It's all about the funding it.
Sadly, that is the truth.
And as we all know from firsthand experience, like, people BS you. Oh yeah, I want to support you. I want to do this. Let's see who's actually going to sit down and write me a check and put some money in the bank. So on January 9th, Buzzy O'Keefe, who owns the Water Club and the River Cafe, went to high school, Fordham Prep, with my dad. So I spoke to him, and he very graciously is allowing me to use at a fee the Liberty Warehouse, which is his newest establishment. But it's gorgeous. It overlooks the Statue of Liberty and the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan skyline. And Sid, I'm inviting Chris Boyle from from PS 185, who I went to kindergarten with, to like the guy who I met 2 days ago in Grand Central who needed to know directions. And he said, "You're such a nice guy. Let me give you my card." Yeah. So I'm just going to invite the whole world. The room holds 1,000 people. There's going to be a DJ. I'm hoping my buddy Joe Piscopo comes and sings some songs. I'll have someone come up, tell some jokes, and we're going to have a great night.
That's going to be
somewhere
the
in there, I'll make a speech, and we'll see how much money. The filing for the whole state is January 15th, so we'll see how much money is in the bank, and then we'll take it from there.
So Arthur Aidala is running to be the Brooklyn district attorney, essentially.
Well, he
no,
doesn't know
not yet. You know what? The guy who's there right now, Eric Gonzalez, who that article is about.
The interim.
You're not going to find anyone who's going to say a bad word about him. He's like the nicest guy around, and he's very competent. He knows how to do the job. There's no doubt about that.
He's been there for 22 years.
Exactly. Right. He knows what he's doing. But politics is a rough business. That was one of the first things Trump said the night he won. He said, "I'm tired, and this is a dirty business," or something like that. Right. And the only thing I worry about is how much firepower they come after Mr. Gonzalez with, and whether he could withstand that. He and I have spoken, and I said, "Look, Eric, if you have a clear path to remain the Brooklyn DA, then it's all yours, brother."
Yeah.
Which it's kind of not the easiest thing for me to say because it's been a lifelong dream. But if that's not the path is not there for him, and it is there for me, then I'm going for it.
But are you willing, you talk about Trump. Well, let's be honest here. Trump got very, very nasty with all the guys during the primary and then again with Hillary during the race. Are you willing to take down Eric Gonzalez in that fashion?
Well, no. To thy own self be true. In other words, Donald Trump did so well because he was Donald Trump. He wasn't anyone else. But I'm going to be Arthur Aidala. So when the political pundits say, "You can't tell them about Fox News. You can't say you represented Lawrence Taylor." Right. I go, what do you see? Lawrence Taylor became one of my closest friends. I love being in Fox News. I'm not going to run away from
Don't tell me you went to polyprep with Sid.
Right, yeah. Being Italian-American in Brooklyn isn't the... Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to go get an extra suntan and say I'm Cuban?
It's going to be out there anyway.
I am who I am. This is who I am. If people want me to be their leader, I'm flattered. And if they don't want me to be, I have a beautiful life. I'm getting to hang out with you guys
right now. It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation.
But to be Brooklyn district attorney, you have to want to lock up the bad guys, too. You have to have...
obviously. And look, I did that. Mr. Hines tapped me to try, alongside my friend Joe Alexis, we tried the first murder one case in the city. It means it was the first case that was eligible for the death penalty.
Oh, wow.
But... And this is my theme tonight when my best friend Josh Hanshaft becomes a judge. We didn't just look at the victim and what we did. We looked at the defendant. And you know why we didn't recommend the death penalty? This was a kid whose mother was found with a heroin needle in her arm, draped over a radiator when he was 10. And Bernie, you know who took care of the 10-year-old?
No.
Nobody. No one.
Wow.
The kid went into the subway tunnels and raised himself like a wolf, like Mowgli from the jungle.
Right.
I mean, he just survived, but he didn't know anybody. He did the most horrific thing. He shot someone in the head in the middle of a grocery store. Yeah. But so we asked for life without parole, and he was convicted for life without parole. But you never feel good about that. You just feel like, look, we did the right thing. But there's not that exhilaration that you had like with Billy Rapetti or Bridget Harris when you exonerate someone. Yeah. And even LT was getting a bad situation.
Right,
please.
And he got out of a bad situation. He's no saint, but he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
And anyone who hangs out with him will tell you that.
Listen,
so, look,
speaking of great
I am
guys,
who I am, and this is what I'm doing, and we'll see what the future holds.
Speaking of great guys, Arthur Aidala, you are a great guy. New York guy.
Great guy.
If you say so, it must be true.
It's true.
It's a damn fact.
Listen, I'm going to say this to complete Bernie. You're going to win something. Now, whether it's a Brooklyn DA, we don't know, but you're going to win something. January 9th, you're going to kick it off, and 6 days later, you're going to win something.
Running for mayor. Boy, de Blasio's got an issue, not by me, but like everyone's like, you should run for mayor. You got to run for mayor. I'm like, oh.
When is Schneiderman running?
Well, here's the real quick. Everyone is now believing that Governor Cuomo is going to launch his presidential campaign. Like he is going to run against Trump in 4 years. This is his time. This is his moment. So in 2 years, he would give up the governorship, and everyone knows Eric Schneiderman, the current attorney general, will run for governor.
A certified skunk, that guy.
I'm going to take the fifth on that.
Right.
And
you can say it.
And then the attorney general seat, the statewide seat, would be wide open. And quite frankly, as a white, heterosexual, Italian-American male who works on Fox News, who considered Justice Scalia his uncle,
smokes cigars.
I'm better off running statewide. I'm more appealing in that
electorate
than I may be locally.
Just so you know, Curtis Sliwa has just announced he's running for Brooklyn DA.
As long as Curtis Sleever endorses me, I'm in good shape.
Hey, Arthur Aidala, we wish you all the best, and we'll be in touch. And,
What a great
happy
way to spend my birthday.
Congratulations
Thank you,
on your
guys.
marriage and your baby. Arthur Aidala on the Bernie and
Happy birthday to me.
Back after this.
77 WABC. Traffic.